Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Larry Lederman. I'm the chair of the Carleton University Ambassador Speaker Series. This is the third in our series of 4 during this academic year and features the Ambassador of Egypt, His Excellency Wael Abulmad.
Wael Abulmad's very distinguished career. It really is a great pleasure and honor for us at Carleton to be able to welcome Ambassador Wael Abulmad, and please give him a very warm welcome as he takes the podium.
Thank you very much, Professor Hampson, Larry, distinguished fellow ambassadors and high commissioners and fellow diplomats, distinguished faculty members, students, and fellow Egyptians. It is truly my pleasure and my honor to be here today speaking at this distinguished academic institution here in Ottawa at Carleton University. And I'm particularly honored to be speaking on behalf of my country, Egypt, as we go through a very exciting yet hopeful moment in our modern history. So what I'm doing is my best attempt at presenting you with an honest, slightly deep picture of what is happening in Egypt, what happened in Egypt, and how I personally see things unfolding in the future. In January 2011, Egyptians from all walks of life participated in the events. There was no single motivation driving people to go out to Tahrir Square and other main centers in Egypt. Some people will say it was mostly economic, others will say social injustice, a third group will say anger at the absence of democratic institutions. Perhaps they are all right to some extent, but it would be completely inaccurate to relegate any of these features and take it out of the picture, or to assume that it is exclusively economic. Everybody there was there for at least one reason, and many people were there for multiple reasons. So it is very important to establish that this was no one's revolution. It was everybody's revolution, and everyone had their own reasons to be there and to support the movement for significant change in Egypt. Promising signs. Despite all these challenges, the prospects for Egypt's transition to democratic governance are promising. And you may have noticed I don't use the word optimistic. Optimistic connotes some kind of mystical sense. I am confident. I'm confident because I have spent at least the last 10 years of my career doing very little besides working on these issues when it was very hard to work on them, when it was almost like hitting a brick wall. And I understand the complexities of many of these issues. So for me to live and see the amount of change, I have a closer sort of measuring yardstick to tell you, really, this, I would have never dreamt of this happening.
I'm a master's student here at Carleton studying political science, and I'm Egyptian. Thank you for the presentation. I don't know whether to be surprised or not surprised, the fact that the one giving the presentation is a diplomat, but the fact that, like, I sensed from your talk that kind of the revolution is kind of over, and how to rebuild, or the challenges that we're facing, rebuilding and moving towards democratization. And why I sense that? Because when you went through the kind of like the historical analysis of the past year, you kind of ended in November, disregarding completely what happened just this January of 2012, and the massive anger of people in the streets against the military rule. Because I do believe, as millions of Egyptians from the street that were in Tahrir Square last January, that the revolution is not over yet, because dictatorship is not over yet. It just took another form. Instead of just one person, which was Mubarak, it's now the dictatorship of the military rule. So disregarding that in such a presentation wouldn't give the audience kind of the vision that Egyptians actually have right now, that the biggest challenge that we have right now is dictatorship of the military rather than anything else. And
you made a number of assertions that you didn't substantiate. You used the term I and a million other Egyptians, and I didn't see a list of names. I did not refer to myself as speaking on behalf of anyone else. I tried to present my own assessment of what I thought. I didn't try to enumerate every single point of frustration. I just stopped at what I call the November episode because I thought it was very, very significant for the future transformation. Unlike you, I strongly believe that, in fact, like you, I believe that the revolution is a process. It will never be complete because what is the revolution? I think it has an objective. For me, at least, the objective is to see Egypt transformed into a full democracy. So to imagine that this can happen by a series of protests and events is not only idealistic, it is naive. Because in essence, democracy is way more than the simplistic presentation you made about getting rid of the military and then getting rid of the Islamists as if they're not Egyptian and the military is not our own military and our own Egyptian military. No. It is about institutions of democracy, it is about independence of the judiciary, it's about freedom of expression, it is about equality of people before the law, it is about a culture of democracy, it is about so many things. And we have to work on those and acknowledge that we will continue to work on those issues. So my only, not protestation, but disagreement in with your statement is that I dare never say that I represent everyone, or that this is what everyone sees. And that was part of the absolutism that I alluded to earlier, that everyone says, if you are not like me, you are evil. You judged me right now, in fact, by saying that I intentionally neglected something. In fact, I didn't. I just don't have enough time, because I have 2 pages of challenges. In the enumeration of the period that went from last year till this one.